Hi, and welcome to the introduction to Power Editor. This specific video is going to be talking about the old interface for Power Editor, as many of you may not have had the upgrade to the newer interface that Facebook rolled out recently. So the first thing, in order to get to Power Editor, you're going to use this URL here. There's also some other ways of doing it. For instance, if you just go to the Ads Manager within Facebook, and then on the left-hand column of menu, you'll see Power Editor as an option, and that'll bring you here. Now, when you first come into Power Editor in the old version here, you've got your different accounts here, and within that you can also manage pages, which is the same thing as the posts menu in the new interface. You can also create account groups if you have multiple campaigns and brands and things that you're managing if you're more of an agency. And then you have your different accounts here. Quite often the accounts will just be a number, so you have to get used to knowing what number is what and who is who. It's nice when you actually have titles to them. That depends on the settings that that campaign or that ad account is set under. Then here's the most important thing. You want to remember and get into a habit of every time you come into Power Editor, downloading the most current status and things of your campaigns into the Power Editor, because as much as Power Editor is interfaced into Facebook and the environment of Facebook, it's actually a separate application. It allows you to work on campaigns without them being live already. It lets you set up bulk ads and ad sets while not actually having to set them up as a live budgeted and paid campaign running, but rather you can set it up beforehand, test it, checks things, and then upload it when you're ready. So you'll see here download and upload. These are two very important buttons. When you download, what you're going to do is you're going to hit that download button. You're going to get a list of all of your different accounts. You're probably only going to have one account. It'll be the one that you've been working on. You're going to select whatever accounts that you want to update, and you just hit download, and it updates all of the information and data so that you're working with the most updated stuff. Now, within the Power Editor, you have over here your different campaigns and how to filter them so that you can find what you want to work on. If you're just starting off in Power Editor, then you're probably not going to have too much to look through. So I would just go to the All button and find the campaign that you're working on. So we're going to play around with a campaign that I did recently on a promotion for a meditation page. Now, over here on the right hand side, you're going to see that you've got campaigns, ad sets, and ads. Beneath that, you have a plus button to create a new campaign. You can duplicate old campaigns. Just select it and then duplicate it. You can revert things if you make a mistake. I believe you can only do that maybe once or twice backwards, so be sure that you're careful. Or you can delete campaigns as well, export and import things, and campaign tags, which to be honest I've never used. That's more for you in your searching and filtering so that you can find stuff if you have too many campaigns. And so you can do a search by a tag. Okay, now when you select a campaign, down below here, and you'll notice there's this split screen thing which has been changed in the new interface, so that's a little more user friendly, but right now there's this split thing and you can move it around so you have more screen space to work with, but on the bottom half of the screen is your editing for your campaign. You'll notice for campaigns the only thing that you can edit once you've created a campaign is the title, whether it's active or inactive, and setting a limit. When you first create the campaign though, you can set up the objective, and we talked about that in the last video. And you can set up the buying type. Now this is important. The buying type is either going to be auction or fixed price. Fixed price means that you set an estimated price that you believe and you want to pay for your ads to be clicked on or for whatever objective you're doing. For instance, this one's clicks to website. That is a limiting way of doing it. I would suggest always using auction, because what auction does is it does set you up in a bidding offer and competition with other advertisers, but it also means that you're going to be displayed more your ads can be optimized to be displayed more and clicked more on, whereas the fixed one you may overshoot or undervalue what is needed in order to actually get your ads displayed properly in the Facebook environment. So I would go with auction. When you come over to ad sets, the ad sets are your target audiences. And here because this was set up through the page, we don't have too many options on it. But the options that you normally would have with any target audience or ad set is what your budget's going to be. So it could be daily or lifetime budget. You're going to have an estimated reach over here of how many people you might get. Your schedule, so when you're going to start it and also when you end it. I often don't schedule an end date and I just run it as ongoing, but then I'm just very conscious of when I want it on or off, and it's more of a pausing. Or you can end it at a certain time so that you don't have to worry about if you know your campaign's running for a certain launch of a product and it ends on a certain date, maybe a date that a webinar is running, then you can set a specific end date here. You can also now create a little bit more ad scheduling by saying that you want to run ads all the time, or you can run them on a schedule. What that does is it lets you, let's say you know that more of your people are on Fridays just before the weekend because you do weekend events or something. You may only want to run those ads the Thursday and Friday before that weekend. Below that, you've got your audience, and you can edit that audience here. We'll do that in a moment. And below that, you've got placement. So whether it's going to be the mobile newsfeed, like you would have on a mobile device, an iPad, an iPhone, or any other smart device. Desktop newsfeed, which is if you're on your computer, your laptop, and it's what comes up looking like a normal post. Or your desktop right column, which is the ads and images you see to the right of your normal Facebook interface. The audience network has more to do with apps and other things that are going on. I don't normally use those. I think it's still something that's in development. Below that, you have optimization and pricing. You can set an amount that you want your clicks to be and kind of have that set, or you can ask that you get the most website clicks at the best price. You're optimizing for either clicks to website, daily unique reach, clicks, or impressions, and each of these, as you can see from the descriptions, has a specific purpose. Let's go into the audience editing interface so you can see a little bit about how we create audiences. Now, when you're creating an audience, you have the option of setting the locations that you want, so maybe a specific city, country, village, town. You can either include or exclude places. Maybe you don't want anybody from a certain country or city. Maybe you want it to be only international and nobody domestic because you have too many competitors in your domestic arena. And so you say that your town you exclude here, or you include them as you have here. Also now possible is you can actually target it by people who either live in that location, recently in that location, or traveling in that location. This is a really wonderful way to play with your ability to target, or you can just say everyone in that location. You have age demographics, gender demographics, and a slew of other demographics you can play with. If you're going to do any of these to highly define your target audience, I would first take a look at what your demographics are, maybe from your emails or your email list or your fan base. That you can go into one of the other menu items called Audience Insights, and I'll show that to you in a moment. And from there, you'll see what other demographics are actually your target audience, and then you can target them from there. You can also do a targeting based off of advanced connections, meaning more your fan base, people who have downloaded an app from you or have attended an event with you. So when you click advanced connection targeting, you'll notice it says include people who are connected to your page, app, or event. You can exclude those people, or you can include those people and the friends that they're connected to. This is the option I often say you want to do if you're creating a target audience ad set for your fans. and you'll want to do one ad set for that. You can also set up a language. Let's say that your audience that you share with and that you want to give a product or service to only speaks English. We'll make sure that your ads are only going to English speakers. And then below that, you can add a number of interest groups, keywords, related brands, related people to your targeting, so that you can target those specific people and brands and related keywords. Now, once you've done all of that, that creates a really nice audience, and maybe you want to save that audience so that you can use it later. Then when you have a new ad set that you're creating, you can come up here to custom audiences, and you can include one of those saved audiences that you've set up. And those saved audiences may be made up of you creating a big demographic like this, or it could be from website retargeting pixels, or an email list that you've uploaded, or your fan base. All of these can be custom audiences that you've created, and then you can include or exclude. Again, one of the reasons you might exclude is, let's say you are running an ad for people to opt into a membership group that you have. Well, you want to exclude anybody who you already know is in that membership group, so maybe you create an audience based off of that. Over here, you'll see an estimate of the number of people you might reach and a summary of your criteria. And then you just hit save. Once you've got your ad set all set up, then you're going to come over to your ad. And your ad, again, if you click on the actual item, then you can edit it down below. Your ad is always going to be tied to a Facebook page. You can choose whatever page you would like it to be added to. And that then shows up here as who sponsored it, with a like page button on your actual ad. You can also not connect a Facebook page, which means that you're not going to be able to run newsfeed ads. And I would say that newsfeed ads are probably the most profitable and effective ads, so tie it to a page. After that, you've got your ad creation area. You can either create a brand new ad using an image or a video, or even multiple images in a carousel. The multiple images is great for e-commerce sites that have multiple products, or maybe you have multiple upsells or upgrades to a service. You can do that there so that you can show all of them, up to 5 images, for the same bidding price. Or you can create an ad based off of an existing post already on the page that you've selected. And that's just by selecting here different posts that you've had on that page. If you're creating an ad from scratch, you're going to want to have a URL, and then you're going to have a display URL. The display URL is what gets shown on the ad down here at the bottom of your ad. So maybe you don't want this ugly looking affiliate link that I've got here, and you want to make it look nice and pretty, so you have it be this one. And you would type that in here. Then the text that you have above the ad image goes in here under the text box. The headline is what's just below the image in bold. And then below that is a newsfeed link description, which if you start to put something about that in, you'll notice it. We'll change it here in a moment. That adds a small description down here, which normally you want to create as a call to action, asking people to either share, comment, like, or sign up for whatever it is you're offering in that post and ad. You can now create video ads, and so instead of an image, you can select a video and upload it. You do have certain limitations. It must be an MP4 or a MOV video, up to 40 minutes in length, 1 gigabyte maximum. What I would say is your videos don't want to be more than 2 minutes to 5 minutes. Most people don't watch videos on Facebook for more than 30 seconds. And so having that in mind when you're creating an ad campaign with a video. And most important in your campaign or in your ad is the call to action button. You have a choice of many different options here. You can either say no button, or you can say a book now, contact us, download, learn more, shop now, sign up, watch more. And that button ends up right here at the far bottom right corner of your ad. It's just another way to call to action a movement of the people looking at your ad. You want them to see a call to action within the top text. Share this powerful self-empowerment home training course. You want your imagery to show some form of call to action. By the way, your imagery can have only 20% text. So you got to get creative to make sure that the totality of text in your image doesn't go over 20% of the space of the image. Your title, your headline title, should also be somewhat of either a description of the product or service you're doing, or again, another call to action in the description below that, and the call to action button. Pretty much you're just telling people click here, click here, click here, click here in different ways, because you want them to move from the ad towards somewhere else, maybe a landing page, an opt-in page, a sales page, a video, something. At the very bottom, you'll notice that there's a tracking pixel area. So if you are tracking conversions, or maybe you're just tracking any kind of activity, a lead, somebody opting into your newsletter or something, you can add that tracking pixel here. You can either create it, or if there's other ones that have already been created, you can add existing pixels. Now really quick, I'm just going to show you a bit of the other areas within the Power Editor and the Ads Manager that you can play with. If you come down here into the Manage Ads, you'll notice there's an area called Audiences. When you click on that, it comes up with the custom audiences that you set up. These are for retargeting purposes. So either it's an audience that you set up using all those different demographics, or maybe it's an audience that you upload using a customer list, emails. Maybe it's Facebook user IDs, like a fan page. Maybe it's website retargeting traffic. So you've placed a tracking pixel on your website. So you've placed a piece of code on your website to show when people visit from different areas, and Facebook is tracking that so that you can retarget them later. Or maybe you have an app that people have downloaded and are taking specific actions. And all of these are collecting data, and then they get compared to the database that Facebook has, and it displays ads to those people based off of that. You also have conversion tracking. Now this is much more for if you have specific actions you want taken on your website. Maybe it's an opt-in, maybe it's a sale, a purchase, a lead, a video view. All of these things you can put a tracking pixel that you create here into that website or that web page or that landing page, or that thank you page is normally where you place it, so that you can see who's actually converted. From that, you can then create lookalike audiences. You can track and customize and optimize your ads. You can do a number of different things, so it's good to have. And that completes our tutorial as an introduction to the Power Editor application for creating ad campaigns here on Facebook. Thanks.